Kuhn is the fullback with the first and goal. Kuhn gets the call. Pyle trying to make his way in for the touchdown. What a great second effort. Here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. Here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. I said so. I keep big bills up in my heart on the dirty like blood. So I got no twist in my head, but I'm still dreadful.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Fantasy Fullback Dive, brought to you by the good people at the Roto Street Journal, acting as your lead blocker to fantasy glory, fantasy championships, all that good stuff. I'm your host, Nat the Truth Jones. With me, as always, the Wolf of Roto Street himself, and with me more and more frequently these days, CJay. Wolf, how you doing?
Doing fantastic, Truth. We got the Super Bowl just a few days away. I mean, doesn't get much better than that. Just the only thing I don't like about this Super Bowl is I don't really have someone I'm rooting against. Like, I do want the Bengals to win if I had to pick a team I like more, but I do like Stafford. I like Kupp. Like, there's no villain. There's nobody I'm going against right now, which is the only thing I don't like about this. But otherwise, great vibes. It's getting warmer around here finally, thank God. Everything's good. How about you, Truth? How about you, CJay?
Yeah, I'm doing good. We're fresh off our last betting podcast that we did, where we actually hit the nail on the head in the NFC Championship game. All of us did, like almost the exact same score. So feel good about that. It's gonna be a good Super Bowl.
Yeah, we killed that. The Wolf and I have been doing these things every Thursday, just and coming up with things to talk about, and we're looking forward to some of talking movies, TV, just other random things, but not yet. Because this is the big one. This is the Super Bowl betting prop show, fantasy prop show. Looking forward to it. We were supposed to have JimboSlice with us today, but the guy, I guess, had something better to do and kind of bailed on us at the last minute. So you're just going to have to settle for the three of us. But no, we're seriously very excited about this. I agree with your assessment, Wolf, as far as not really pulling against anybody. It's weird. It's very rare that I am not pulling against somebody. I really like both these teams, and I really am having a hard time even trying to pick a winner, much less who I'm pulling for. That I can really come up with a lot of good reasons for each of them, but that is a fluid thing for me. What I pick on the podcast today, I'm going to stick with, but I've gone back and forth several times. I'm just going to
absolutely no. I'm in the same boat, and we'll talk about that to kick everything off. Is who we think is going to win, how we generally think the game is going to go. Before we move into some player specifics, we'll talk, of course, about the anthem, all the stuff you love, the halftime show as well. And I do think, especially when it comes to the player props, there is some great money to be made here. Plus, it's our last time to bet on football. So, let's splurge. Let's get after it. Let's make some money, folks, including with Prize Picks, our sponsor for today. Code RSJ will get you up to $100 match. So we'll be referencing our favorite Prize Picks, how they relate to the lines on DraftKings and all that good stuff. I already see a couple of those thumbs up coming in. So you guys know the deal. If you're here with us, you know the deal. Please do smash that like button. Help us get out to more people. Comment on in. We see some questions coming in. What are your favorite props? What are some players you want our take on for the Super Bowl? Any questions at all, even if it's not related to the Super Bowl, or if you just want to tell us how damn sexy we look tonight, that is always okay. But thank you again, guys, for being here. We're going to help you win some money. Let's dive right in. Why don't we?
Believe it or not, we already have someone in the chat that has referred to how sexy we are a couple times.
I love it. I didn't even see that. I was just saying it out of the blue. Fantastic. And yes, indeed.
It was duck, but anyway.
Still, I'll take a duck. I'll take a duck sexy, you call.
Right.
Hell
He
yeah.
called me dapper. He said you two were sexy.
Ooh.
Right. So in 10 more years, you'll be dapper too. Anyway, first things first, Bengals versus Rams in a Rams home game, but not really a home game. They're actually the away team, I believe, unless I'm very much mistaken. Over under on the game. Let's start right there. 48.5 points. What do you think, Wolf?
You know me. I love overs, but I actually think I'm hitting the under on this one. Both of these teams, we've seen McVay kind of shit himself, and I don't think he's going to do that quite at the level he has in the past on the national stage. But both of these teams love to kind of come out in the game, feel it out with the run game, just kind of get a sense for each other. I think we're going to get a really fast first half before some points start to pile on in the second half. Overall, though, man, it's a really tough call. My final score prediction is 27-24 Bengals, so I guess I am hitting the over at that point, but it's really close for me. I'm going to go over 27-24 Bengals pull this upset off. and win. So obviously I'm taking the Bengals with the points and also that money line plus 170 as well.
All right, we can slide the the winner and the spread in as well. CJay, what do you think of the over under? Who do you like? What's your final score?
So yeah, kind of what we were talking about earlier, where I think the Bengals might cover the 4.5, but I do like the Rams to win. So I'm not really sure. I don't know about the over under, but I would stick around like, I don't know, 27-24-ish, around that area, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But you're saying Rams win it 27-24, same score? Yeah, so we have the same score, but with just different flip sides of the victory.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a little bit embarrassing because 27-24 was what I was going to say too, and now I want to say something different.
I love it.
maybe 27-23, something like that. Maybe we're going to see a botched extra point. I really have gone back and forth about who I think is going to win this game so many times. I started out was just like, yeah, the Rams will probably win. And, it really does seem like most of the data points do point to the Rams. And I'm picking the Bengals because I mean, if you asked me to defend this, I couldn't really. But I think I'm going to pick the Bengals by 3 or 4. And I think I'm going to say they're slightly going over the over. So we're basically all saying the same thing. We like them to barely go over the over. We all like the Bengals and the points, or we all like the Bengals taking the points. The Wolf and I have the Bengals. I don't know why I'm picking them. I think it's just because, I really believe in the Joe Burrow swag. I don't really 100%. Have a whole lot of other reason for it because there's no other. I mean, you could make an argument they shouldn't have won any of the games they've played in the playoffs. But he just seems like a cool dude.
I feel like he's just gonna get eaten. Like that defensive line is just gonna destroy the Bengals offensive line. I think he'll be running for his life most of the game. So
I could see that. I really could. So with that said, why are you picking the Rams by 3?
I still think they'll put up their points. I mean, okay. I don't know. When I saw the line at 4.5, I was like, oh, that's kind of a lot of points for two teams that are both flawed and. I don't know. I'm just feeling the Rams I love Stafford, and I've been on them most of the playoffs.
I really like Stafford too. I really genuinely like both of these teams, and I could definitely see a scenario where the Rams are just beat their brains in and are chasing them the whole game. But I don't know. I want to be in on the ground floor on this Burrow thing. So that's why I'm doing it. I don't know. I want to be.
I'm with you there too. And he did let's not forget he got sacked 9 times against the Titans. He got battered, and they still pulled that one off. So I could totally see him taking. And we'll talk about some of our favorite props. It's 3.5 in positive money for sacks on the Rams. I think they're absolutely going to go over 3.5 sacks. I think Burrow's going to be getting hit all day and still just somehow pull it off. I envision this game ending with a Evan McPherson 52-yarder, booting it down. And I love that prop too. I think it's plus 500 for the game to end on a kick, something of that nature. So that I think either way, this game ends on the field goal, whether it ends up being Matt Gay or Evan McPherson, we will see. My bet is on Evan McPherson ending this thing. That's how I see this all unfolding though.
I'll bet there's more action, whether it's fantasy wise or just traditional sports book betting stuff on the McPherson than there probably has been on any kicker just about ever.
Yeah.
He's in quite a few of the Prize Picks bets that I like.
100%. Yeah, we'll get into those for sure. But yeah, so should we move on now to
let's go.
The opener here, the national anthem?
Oh, I've been waiting to talk to you guys about this one. We got a big national anthem coming up. Mickey Guyton herself or himself is belting out the old Stars and Stripes, the national anthem. And, we got an over and under of 95 seconds. And of course, we're going to want to know what Mickey's outfit, what shade of outfit Mickey's going to wear. I mean, that's what everybody's talking about, right, fellas?
Oh, yeah. All the buzz around the town.
So the next question I have to pose to both of you, of course, anytime we're discussing national anthem length, big celebrity singing it is, who do you think Mickey Guyton is?
I have no idea.
That makes two of us, buddy. I have no idea who this person is. That's why I was hedging on the male-female thing because there's Mickeys of both genders.
I will.
Anybody in the comments want to tell us who Mickey Guyton is?
I've done my research at this point.
Oh, okay.
I can spoil it for you, but I will say this: I was absolutely picturing like a Bruno Mars, like slicked back hair, Italian. I don't know exactly what I was picking, but I did think it was a male. I have since learned it's not a male. It's a country
Tony
singer.
Soprano type.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Maybe I've been watching too many Sopranos right now. But yeah, that's absolutely what I was picturing, and it ended up being a female country singer. So yeah, that's what we're getting here. Mickey is a country singer. I have done some extensive research on this though since then, because we don't want to just toss a random
like a Dolly Parton type.
No, she's actually black, a black country singer, Nat. Yeah.
See, I like country too. I've never heard of her.
Like a female Darius Rucker.
Yeah, kind of. But here's what I've learned about here. So, well, just in general, history I'm going to go on the under. We'll start with that. I'm definitely hammering this under for a couple reasons. In history, there have been 8 artists that have been timed as a 2-minute or over under. They've gone 5, 2, and 1, hitting the under right here. Kelly Clarkson pushed at 134. That was the shortest over under that we had set, and she pushed there. Guyton also is 38. And of 14 solo performers since 2007 that were 38 years old, there's been 6 of them. 5 of them went under. So 5 of 6 went under. But not only that, let's talk about Mickey herself here. She performed the national anthem in Washington, D.C. at National Memorial Day concert. It was cool, clean, crisp, 1 minute, 25 seconds there. And apparently she used to sing the national anthem at every single basketball game at her high school in Texas. And they gave her a nickname. She earned the reputation as Quickie Mickey because of how briskly she moved through the pace of the national anthem. So all of these signs are pointing to absolutely maybe the best bet of the night is hammering under 95 seconds. There is no way she's going and embellishing tonight. So that's not in her nature. She's defined by her quick, speedy sharpness, and she is going to put that on the national stage on the Super Bowl.
Can I just take a second to applaud you for the level of research on this? That was spectacular. That was great.
Yes.
really. I mean, you went back a couple things. I mean, so she's 38. This lady is not, and we know that it is a lady now, is no spring chicken. She's 38 years old, well established. And you literally went 20 plus years back into her high school days where she was, I guess, like the house singer kind of for these things. And known for just speediness, getting on with it. I'm also hitting the under, and I was hitting the under, just to be clear. Even though your research was amazing, you would have swayed me if I had been over before that. I was going under anyway. But your research just makes me think I was very, very smart about something that I knew nothing about.
Well, now you have all the evidence you need, Truth.
Right, but CJay, what do you think? Over under, real quick.
See, even so, I did read a lot of that, and I'm good. I think this number is just way too low. The lowest in the last 16 years is Billy Joel at 90 seconds. I feel like that's just an extremely low number. It's been averaging about 2 minutes the last 20 years or so. And I don't know, maybe it's her time on stage. It's like the first time she's probably sang since high school at this point. We don't even know who she is. And maybe she's going to take a little bit longer. I'm taking the over here.
Well, what color do you think she's going to wear?
I'm going with the plus 500 gray and silver. I think a just nice silver sparkly dress. That's what I'm picturing. I know, at that performance I referenced, the Memorial Day concert, she was wearing yellow. So that yellow gold does look pretty nice at plus 300, but you don't go back to back at your big events in the same color. I did look and see, was she a fan of either of these teams? And there was no precedence as being a fan, because otherwise I might look at blue if she was a Rams fan, something of that nature. But I'm going gray silver, a nice sparkly silver dress. Plus 500, some solid odds there is what I'm hitting.
CJay?
Yeah, I'm playing it safe. I saw her in a lot of white when I Googled her, and I'm just sticking with white. It's flashy. She's in LA. It's a little glistening off her dress.
But one thing I don't believe in doing when I'm betting on someone I've never heard of singing the national anthem is playing it safe. So I'm going to be hitting green for plus 1,400 on this one. Yeah, I mean, because no risk, no reward. And, I can see Mickey Guyton, or at least what I imagine she might look like, wearing something green and beautiful. So you heard it here first, folks. 1,400.
Imagine your night, Truth, when you start out like that hits, and
if she comes out wearing green,
you've already made all your bets. It doesn't even matter how the rest of the night goes. You've already made it if you're hammering that. I love it.
I will be so drunk within the next 95 seconds. I'll be just right. I mean, that would be so great. So no guts, no glory. Let's move on.
Absolutely.
And Mickey, we love you. We'd love to have you on the show if you're listening.
Cheers, Mickey.
Coin toss, heads or tails. One thing that I learned on a podcast I listened to in the last week or so is that the winner of the coin toss, I think, has won like the last 7 Super Bowls.
I thought it was the opposite. I thought the winner deferred and then lost 7 straight. Isn't that's what I heard?
I know they always defer. I don't know, dude. I was drunk when I was listening to this.
I'm pretty sure it is 7 straight, like you said that, but it was the flip. I think 7 straight have deferred and then lost the game.
Well, that's important. I mean, because we're essentially giving 100% different information. So one of us is telling the truth and one of us is dead wrong. But anyway, you like heads, you like tail. You a heads guy, Wolf?
I'm a heads guy. I know it's so clever to say tails never fails, but give me heads all day.
I'm a head. That is so clever.
That's me. I'm the simple one that says tails never fails.
I'm a heads guy too.
And if we're going by the AFC Championship game that went to overtime, tails. Josh Allen was pissed,
and that's what we're going with. Yeah. All right. Well, we're both going heads. The CJay tails never fails, except when it does. First touchdown score. Let's get into it. First touchdown.
I'm going to bring in the odds here.
Bring it up. Let's check it out.
You can see.
So you can see what's available, and this is this on FanDuel or DraftKings?
This is DraftKings Sportsbook. Yeah.
All right. So if you look at this, Cooper Kupp leading the way at plus 500, and then followed by Mixon, Akers. You don't love Akers here, do you, Wolf?
No, we'll talk about some unders, and I'm under everything with Akers. I have no interest in betting anything with Akers, certainly not to be the first scorer. I don't think he's going to score at all. I'm taking all the unders with him. I do think, obviously, Kupp plus 500. I mean, that's really tough to ignore. It's the easy, it's the obvious. He's the favorite. But I'm actually going OBJ plus 900 as my favorite to score the first touchdown of the game. They've just been really targeting him on those quick, 3-yard jump ball type of scenarios. They really have a great red zone package for Odell Beckham. Kupp draws so much attention there. I'm going Beckham scoring that first touchdown of the game, proving why they traded for him mid-season and a huge impact player. I do also always like to toss out Hail Marys, over 1,000, plus 1,000 or more.
Sure.
Tyler Boyd at plus 1,800. He's around names like Drew Sample, Van Jefferson, like Kendall Blanton has better odds than him.
Yeah, Kendall Blanton's better than him. Right.
Give me Tyler Boyd at plus 1,800. He's already scored once in these playoffs. I know he's not a red zone maven or anything of that nature, and I usually hate on Tyler Boyd, but I just think given the company he's around, if I'm taking a huge shot, I think plus 1,800 on him or Rams, one of the defenses scoring are both pretty intriguing in my opinion at plus 2,800 for the Rams and plus 3,000 for the Bengals. But I like Boyd the most of the long shots as well.
Doesn't Darrell Henderson Jr. at plus 1,600 seem like an odd thing? Like, why?
Yeah. He hasn't played in 5 weeks. Is he going to even touch the field? That's like,
I don't know. Well, they like him more than Boyd too.
I don't get that one at all.
CJay, who do you like to go in first?
Yeah, so as someone that bets way too many first touchdown scorers on like Monday night and Sunday Night Football, I usually lean with the quarterbacks and the tight ends, and it hits a decent amount. And so yeah, I'm gonna do the 2 tight ends, Uzama and Higbee. Yeah, Uzama and Higbee, they're both coming off injuries, but I don't know. And then also Blanton scored the first touchdown in the Bucs game too, which I had Higbee and I was pissed when I saw that because I was like, who the hell is this guy?
I'm assuming if Higbee's out, CJay, not to interrupt you, but if Higbee is out because he's still pretty doubtful to play, would you be switching that to Blanton then?
Yeah. I'd go with the 2 starting tight ends, and then if I were to just do a Hail Mary, I would go with Burrow. I love quarterbacks inside like the 10 or 5 yard line.
I remember that hit for Mahomes. Was it last year or 2 years ago? I remember you hammered that, and it was a huge one.
Yeah, it hits a lot more often than you'd think, especially on like the primetime games. Whether it's like a Daniel Jones, Mahomes, whoever. I mean, Stafford doesn't really run the ball, but I don't know, put something small on Burrow.
Was it plus 3,000 for Burrow? I don't hate that.
No, 30-1. That's okay with me. My guess would be if they played this game 30 times, once he would get in there, maybe more than that. It's hard for me, and you hate taking the guy at the top of the list, but it seems to me like Kupp at 5-1 is pretty solid bet, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sure, there's a totally a good chance you would lose. But man, as far as I feel like the odds of him scoring are just much higher than anybody else on this list. I would be tempted to take Kupp and OBJ, hedge a little bit, because I do like the OBJ bet, but I'd just be so pissed if I took OBJ and Kupp scored. And you'd be like, yeah, of course Kupp scored. He freaking always scores. Right. So I would probably take both of their top guys.
Yeah. And I know it's going to sound like we're tossing out just a million names here, but when we get to receiver props, I'm really into T. Higgins this game. I think he's going to have a
love T. Higgins this game.
So I don't know that he scores first at plus 1,200. I mean, that's not a bad shot to take, but I do really like the anytime when you're getting plus odds, plus 175 here. I think he's absolutely scoring at least once this game. And there's certain sites you can string together player parlays. So like if you can string together Burrow plus 2 touchdowns, T. Higgins to score, and start combining some of those and really maximizing the outlook. That's just a general type of gameplay theory here is look for the sites where you can string together these single game parlays and these player props together in the scenarios they fit. Maybe you even work in a player MVP in addition to some of the player props you think are going to really hit, just as a general strategy to really maximize your output here.
Yeah, love that. I also think Higgins is going to have a good game. Not necessarily. I mean, I think he probably will score, but I also like some of the other bets I've seen for him for longest play from him, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I have that one.
I like that.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk. All right, let's move on. Single favorite player prop on Prize Picks and on Underdog. Obviously, you can use the code RSJ on these things. They will match your funds. I want to say up to $100. I jumped in on Prize Picks, probably later than a lot of you guys did, but I did jump in. They matched my money, and I'm still playing on that money now. And it was, I don't know, a month ago, which is awesome. So enjoy that. I'm going to actually jump in on Underdog as soon as we stop recording because I know you guys like them too, and love helping people out that are helping us out. Wolf, what is your single favorite player prop on Prize Picks and or Underdog if they're different?
Well, you mentioned Underdog too and how we love them. The last show we did, we talked about Underdog, ended up winning $400. I don't know the exact draft we did on this show, but one of the last drafts I did ended up hitting pretty big. Only King Silva, Evan Silva, was the player ahead of me on the tournament I was in. Of course, Evan Silva. But yeah, Underdog has been very kind to me with money so far. So yeah, I absolutely love go with them. This is cheat code to say, but I'm just going to add this so we can promote it really quickly. On Underdog, for anybody, returning players and new players alike, they do have a Joe Burrow 1 passing yard. So my favorite prop is Joe Burrow for 1 passing yard. I know that's an obvious one. He's obviously going to hit that, but they're giving you that gimme to kind of entice you. Let's get some props strung together here. Let's go for it. So check that on out. As you can see, the promotion here, our code is RSJ. They have some of these tournaments as well that CJay put in here that they're doing the 2022 pre-best ball, all that good stuff. Maybe truth our next show, we'll do a draft together for 2022 action just to kind of shoot the shit while we do a draft. But
I'll do it.
Check out that player prop on Joe Burrow, 1 yard. You can't beat that. But in terms of other bets, my single favorite one, I'm going to give it to you, CJay, because I think we're on the same page with a lot of our favorite bets. And you put me on to one of these ones. So I'm going to let you take it first.
I want to hear this because I wonder how, we had basically the same score.
Yeah, so I have 2 of them that I absolutely love. One of them is Evan McPherson over 1.5 field goals.
That was my favorite one on the board.
He's hit it, I think, 13 out of 20 games. His last 7 games. He's also hit 12 out of 12 field goals in the playoffs. Just absurd numbers, honestly. And then my second favorite one is Cooper Kupp over long reception 28.5, and he's hit that 15 out of 20 games, which is just insane that he's still
So my 2 favorite ones, just see it. I'll give you my 3 favorite ones, but just to show you how aligned we are, guys. My favorite one was McPherson over 1.5 field goals. My second favorite one, I like OBJ over 64.5 receiving yards. And my third favorite one was Kupp longest play over 28.5 yards. So we're drinking some of the same Kool-Aid. Wolf, you got different. I mean, I have many more, but those were the ones at the top of my list. What else do you got, Wolf?
No, McPherson 1.5 was my personal favorite as well. The other one that you could go a different route instead. There's 2 ways you could go. Is 9 fantasy points for Evan McPherson. He hasn't been under 11 in, I think, 7 straight games. So he's been just crushing 9 fantasy points. I think he destroys that. or you could go by distance. 45.5 is
too.
The long distance for him. So I just think Evan McPherson, all his props, I think a lot of the long shots tied to him too, with like the last play being a field goal, the first score being a field goal. There's a lot of plus 200 to 500 odds involving field goals this game. And I know we said we're going to bet the over here, but I really wouldn't be shocked at all if this game turns into, at least early on, a bit of a field goal fest. So I love the Evan McPherson one. The Cooper Kupp one was a no-brainer as well at 28.5. He's going to have at some point a big, huge play to open this game up. So yeah, I love that one, but McPherson's the one I'm leaning as my personal favorite too.
What'd you think of my OBJ over 64.5 receiving yards?
I like OBJ for a touchdown a little bit more than I like the over on his yards. He has hit that in 2 straight games. They've been really, focusing on getting him the rock more. So I wouldn't be shocked at all if that hits. I do think he has a solid game here. It's just risky though, because for so long of this year, he's been more of like it almost seems like a package guy in the red zone on third downs on big receptions, but he has not been racking up too many big yardage games until lately. Now, recent track record seems like a great bet. The longevity of the season, it's been a much less likely. So I don't hate the bet. I wouldn't call it like a personal favorite though.
I really like the bet. Although I like the other two a ton as well. And I got a lot more. Are we going to come back to those later?
Yeah, we'll hit so now we're going to go to like QB. We'll go by position and talk about some of our favorite props and prize picks by position, starting at QBs.
All right, let's start at quarterbacks. What's your favorite quarterback prize prop, player prop on Prize Picks? What is it?
Tongue twister that we got there. So again, just want to reemphasize code RSJ on Underdog. 1 passing yard for Burrow. You do have to parlay. You can't just like bet that, but like $50 on that one thing and say you do have to put it into a parlay here, and you can only do up to $25 on that one single parlay that you make with it. But put 25 on, bet a 5-leg parlay. You could 20 extra money, turn that 25 into $500, and we're going to give you a bunch that we like here. I do love. I don't know if this one's on Underdog, but on Prize Picks, both QBs to throw a pick is just a straight money line. Especially Stafford. I think Stafford's a lock with 17 interceptions, a gunslinging type of game. But the pressure that we've alluded to that I think Burrow's going to be under, that is probably the biggest mismatch of the game, is that D-line versus this offensive line. And so I wouldn't be shocked at all if he's under duress, that ball gets hit, tipped, and picked off for him as well. So I like both quarterbacks to throw picks. Especially on Prize Picks. It's minus 165 on DraftKings for Stafford to throw a pick, but it's just even money to hit that on Prize Picks. So I love that. I also really like Stafford at 19 fantasy points on Prize Picks, and just his general outputs. I like the yardage line. I believe it's 279 on DraftKings. I like that. I think, a lot of the record is we've seen McVay come out so conservative, play with his tail between his legs. We saw that against the Pats the last time he was in the Super Bowl. I think he's going to have learned from his mistakes. He traded for Stafford for a reason. He's going to want to go out and show that. I think he's going to let Stafford fly. So like in terms of attempts, completions, I'm hitting the over on all the Stafford. If I'm betting on a QB, I'm going to be hammering Stafford. My single favorite is that he throws an interception, but I also love, if you do Prize Picks on the fantasy points, he's got 19 as his line. He's hit that in 4 straight and like 7 of his last 9. I really like Stafford at 19 fantasy points as well.
CJ, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you with the interception, especially with Stafford. We talked about this during the NFC, but before the NFC Championship game, how those were locks, and I mean,
they were.
he has done well, like to not turn the ball over in the playoffs, and then he just turned into himself. Like in the second half, he also threw that absolute lollipop to that safety that dropped it.
Oh, yes. We would have been looking at a different Super Bowl.
I know, seriously. So yeah, I have that's probably my favorite of the quarterback bets is Stafford to throw interception, and then I also like both of the quarterback rushing overs. Stafford's at 4.5. He's actually weirdly been running the ball a lot in the playoffs. I think
he's so
20
slow.
yard game.
He's hit that 3 straight though. Yeah.
And then Burrow at 9.5. I can definitely see, like, with all the pressure he's going to be under, that I think he had like a first down run against the Chiefs third quarter, fourth quarter last game. So I like both those rushing props and the interception prop.
How many times out of 10 do you think you would have caught that ball that Stafford threw if you were that guy?
I mean,
I
don't know. Me, I'd probably be scared with all like the bright lights on me.
Yeah.
But
I
Wolf,
have
you
terrible
that's one
hands,
of the
but
that's one of
even
the worst
still.
drops I've ever seen of all time.
Wolf,
I know.
would you bring that down, Wolf?
I think so. I mean, and I have no hands, but I honestly that's a layup. I don't know how that was dropped especially by an NFL player, but I think I do. I think I come down with that maybe 7 to 10 times.
Yeah, I think I'd give myself 8 at least. I would be. I mean, there's no one around him. As a horrible, horrible pass. My favorite quarterback. I mean, I like all the stuff you guys are saying. I actually like both quarterbacks on Prize Pick for their longest play to be over 38.5 yards each guy. I actually think they're both going to do it. I mean, we like Kupp over 28.5 by himself. Obviously, that's coming from Stafford. I think they're both going to hit at least one long pass. They have so many home run guys that they're going to throw to. It's a long game. I like them both on that. All right, let's move on to running backs.
Yeah. I do love that, Nat. I find myself attacking the longest play through the receivers a little bit more and trying to pick which receiver gets that. Because again, I'll take those 10 yards off a Kupp and just assume even if Stafford throws another 40-yard bomb to someone else, Kupp's gonna get that 30-yard play. So I like him. I'd rather attack it that way. But I get what you're saying too. Like somebody's gonna get there.
Yeah. Come on. All right, running backs. What's your favorite running back prop?
I'm going under on everything. I think this is not going to be a running back friendly game. If a running back was going to do well, it would probably be on the Rams side because the Bengals, I heard this stat from Warren Sharp, a great one, that the Bengals allow the most early down rushing yardage. They're like the worst DVOA against or early down rushes, 32nd in the league. So, I mean, we saw it. Like Kinnan was gashing this team early in that game, like 10-yard run after 10-yard run. So, Akers has been horrendous these last few weeks, but you also look at who he's been facing, and it's the Bucs. The 49ers were the best run D over the last 8 weeks in the league. The Bucs were one of the best run Ds all season. So he's had some tough matchups coming into this one. So was it him not just being fully healthy? Was it the matchups? Was it a little bit of both? Probably the end there, the latter. I still think under 64.5, where you see it on DraftKings. On Prize Picks, his line is 54.5. I'm going to avoid that because I think he might be able to hit that, but he still hasn't even come to that level. His highest, I think, since he's returned is 48 yards. So I'm hammering the under even at 54.5, but also on DraftKings, you can get that line at 64.5. So I might as well take those extra 10 yards. But if I'm going to bet a running back under, I feel even better about Mixon being under 62.5 rushing yards. Maybe he gets it done through the air, and that's why I probably won't touch his 16 fantasy points line, something he's been under, though, in 3 of his last 5. This Rams run D has held running backs in the playoffs to 160 yards on 52 carries. It's been just completely stifling. And then, again, how many times are we going to emphasize this offensive line versus that defensive line? There's going to be no holes. He's not going to have anywhere to run. If he does anything, it's going to be through the air. So I think Mixon under 62.5, that is by far my favorite one to hammer. And again, the last one I want to point out, I mentioned how bad that Bengals run D is. Yes, Akers, okay. I love Sony Michel, 15.5 rushing yards, though. I think that is a great one. Given it plays into that matchup, he probably only needs 3 to 5 carries to hit that. So they started to put a little bit more of an even workload towards the second half of the game. I think Sony 15.5 is a great smash.
So before I move on to CJay, so I also like the under for Mixon on Prize Picks, and it's actually 60.5, not 62.5. Last.
Oh, that was DraftKings I was thinking of.
Okay,
yeah.
So
I'd
anyway,
still take that under though. Truth.
Yeah. I like that a lot. Before I ask CJay this, I got to ask you this because you and I are in the same boat here, Wolf. All this stuff you're saying, it makes a whole lot of sense. The discrepancies in the lines and all this stuff. And why are we picking the Bengals?
Joe Burrow. It really only comes down to Burrow. I just think the
more you talk, the crazier I think we are.
Again, especially because it's essentially a road game for them. It's essentially a home game for the Rams, and Stafford seems due and all that. It just, I don't know. I heard a comparison. I was listening to the Ringer podcast, which they did a great betting preview.
Yeah, it was great.
To try to prepare for this. So if you're listening to this one and you want some more good betting content, I did think the Ringer did a great job on theirs. I believe it was either Cousin. I don't know if it was Cousin Sal or if it was Bill Simmons. One of the two kind of referred to this as a young Brady, like the next coming. And they were late to the game on Brady, on their betting, on their just belief in him. And just the way it doesn't always look great, but Burrow just kind of gets it done when it's clutch and when you need him. And he's clearly never out of the game after what we just saw against the Chiefs at back-to-back times. I just that Joe Burrow factor to me. There's every matchup seems to point to the Rams as we keep talking here, and yet Burrow is the factor for me. That's where it comes down to.
On that same podcast, they also mentioned the Rams have literally been at home in their own beds for like the last 6 weeks in their own facility and everything like that.
That's a good point too. That is.
CJay, RB props. What's your favorite?
I don't really love any of the running back props, honestly. I don't like betting the under. So
I hate
something I
betting
probably
the under.
know. Yeah, it's probably something I'm not going to do. But I do love the Sony Michel one. I know we talked about him 2 weeks ago, and I feel like he will get like the 4 or 5 carries that will get him over 15.5. I usually like the weird things like the Deebo Samuel over rushing yards, like the smaller numbers. There's like Samaje Perine, I think, is like 2.5.
2.5.
Like, stuff like that. Like I don't like the 60s and the 50s and like all that stuff. I like the weird props. I'm gonna go with Sony over 15.5.
You know which one? I'm surprised you didn't bring up because you just mentioned Samuel was Jamar Chase has a 3.5 rush yards.
I did see that. I had that written down in the article, but I completely forgot to mention it.
Yeah, they've been kind of doing a bit of end arounds and little design plays to make sure he gets the rock. If you're going to go with a receiver rush, I think that's an intriguing one. But I feel really good about Mixon being under 60.5, 62.5, whatever you get the line at. I see him running for 45 at most. I really don't think Mixon does much this game. So that's my personal favorite of these all.
All right, let's move on to wide receivers.
Indeed.
Of which there are several. All right, favorite wide receiver or tight end player props. So any pass catcher we're basically talking about. We both have already said, all three of us have said that we love Cooper Kupp over 28.5 yards for his biggest play of the game. There's a couple other very intriguing ones also. If we're just going to talk touchdowns, I'll just tell you Kupp over on Prize Picks is over 1 touchdown. So he scores 1 and it's a push. So, he's going to score 1.
Yeah.
But it's a push. Chase to score half a touchdown or more. I like it. I really do like it. I don't know. I think he's probably going to hit that. I might do both of those together if it pushes, whatever. I don't know. What do you think when you see something like Kupp 1 touchdown? 2 is asking a lot, but he's almost certainly going to get 1, right?
Yeah, I think so. But when you're doing a bet like that, the better juice would be going. Like, if you're hitting 1, you're essentially hoping he gets to 2. You might as well go to DraftKings. Well, I guess it depends on your state and where you're at. But for him to get to 2 scores, I believe the odds were like plus 275 or 300. Right. So if you're going to do multi-scores, don't just go for the even prize pick. There's so many smoother, the interceptions with that. If you want the juice, go for the juice and actually handle that on a bet rather than trying to bank on 2 touchdowns on a Prize Picks parlay type of thing. I would attack that differently. I would say I wouldn't be shocked if he gets to 2, Nat. But I think the game theory behind it, you'd rather go to an actual sports book and bet 2 touchdowns for Kupp.
You want to go for the juice. You want to go for the Mickey Guyton wearing green juice.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Right.
So what wide receiver props you guys like? Go ahead. You start, Wolf.
We talked about T. Higgins. I know you said this one earlier too. Yeah. I love 24.5 as a largest play for him. He's gone in his last 9 games. He's had 1 over 24.5 in 6 of them. And it just, we look at the coverage. Ramsey's probably going to be following Jamar Chase, maybe not the whole game, maybe not a complete shadow, but a lot of it. And we've seen him over the playoffs start to more shadow receivers. Now, Evans burned him on a deep one, so it's not like it's a death sentence if Ramsey's on Chase. In fact, I could see Chase destroying him all night. I wouldn't be shocked if that ends up happening. But nonetheless, that also does put Darius Williams on T. Higgins, and Williams has been getting roasted most of the year, but especially burned in these playoffs. So I think T. Higgins, he'll be a banger of a 24.5. I think that's a great bet right there. If you want to go to 66.5 as his over-under for yardage, he's been hitting that with routine grace here. But I also do like Van Jefferson. This is like the more random one, but he has 17.5 as his longest play. Is that, were you going to say that one,
Yeah.
CJay? We're in lockstep here, which is usually a bad thing. But I think the last couple betting pods, when we're in lockstep, we've been nailing it. 17.5, though. 29.5 for his over-under receiving yards. He's done that in 4 of his last 5. But if he gets there, it's probably because he caught a 20-yard bomb. I actually think Van Jefferson's going to catch a long touchdown. I don't know why. I just kind of keep having these visions of him getting deep for like a 40-yard bomb. So either way,
40 yards, which would put Stafford's longest play over 38.5.
Exactly. So I don't know. I just have this weird feeling Van Jefferson, with all the attention of OBJ and Cooper Kupp, are rightfully going to demand. They've given up. I saw it was fantasypoints.com. They do a great chart by like how many points added for the wide receiver, like wide receiver 1 versus wide receiver 2 versus wide receiver 3. And the Bengals were very generous to wide receiver 3s. They do a great job of kind of hyper focusing on the number 1 weapon, and number 2s they were okay against, but number 3s they were very generous against. So I think Van Jefferson could sneak in for a big play here. So I like his props as well.
CJ, got anything else?
Yeah, I'm with you right there on both of those. I love T. Higgins over 66.5 receiving yards. We already talked about the Cup over 28.5 long reception, and then Van Jefferson over 17.5 long reception is also my 3 bets.
Yeah, I like those, except I actually like the T. Higgins, I think, longest play over 24.5, a little more than 66 yards over, although I think that both will probably hit, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. We got a big halftime show coming up, but before that, are there any other in-game props that you're going to be hammering or you think the public should be hammering, Wolf?
Yeah, I do love targeting some of these like game flow type of bets where you try to make a prediction how the game's going to go. Both teams to score 2+ field goals is plus 250. And we've already talked about how we love McPherson. Matt Gay has been a field goal machine all year too. So plus 250 seems pretty okay for those types of odds. I love it's not, you're not getting, juice on this one, but minus 125 for the first drive to be a punt. Dating back to 2000s, 13 first drives have ended in a punt. The other 8 drives, 4 of them resulted in field goals, and the others were turnovers. So I think, those are pretty solid odds. 13 of these last 20 have been punts. So I like that. If you wanted to hedge that a little bit, though, you can get plus 475 for the first drive ending in a field goal. And we keep talking about McPherson. We keep talking about Matt Gay. Plus 475 is pretty good action for one of these teams to end up getting a field goal. So yeah, we're talking about special teams, which isn't necessarily the most exciting, but I do like that. And I also like the first team to commit a turnover being the Rams, minus 115. It's even odds with the Bengals. They're also minus 115. The Rams have been much more turnover prone, especially as of late between Akers, between Stafford. So I love that. And I also talked about how I love the sacks for the Rams, 3.5 over plus 105. So getting plus odds on 4 sacks. I think they're going to get to them all night. I think 4 sacks, it sounds like a lot, but again, 9 sacks against the Titans, and this defensive line is even better. So I love that. You could go for the first sack if you want to parlay that into Aaron Donald's plus 350, Von Miller's plus 400. I think it will be one of those two. I'd go after Donald because you can already hear the announcers. Aaron Donald, this is why he's the best in the game, So plus 350, parlay that with over 3.5 sacks. Some action that I'm intrigued by.
CJ, you got any in-game props you like?
The only one that I saw that I liked on Prize Picks was, I think, the Rams to have 6.5 QB hits. That just seems like a no-brainer to me. It's kind of going off your sack one. But yeah, there weren't too many that really jumped out to me in general. This game it's kind of like a weird game to me.
I didn't see that one, CJ. So what is that under on Prize Picks? Because I love that bet. Like 6.5 hits, no-brainer.
Yeah, it's one of their new. How they added a bunch of categories. It's in there. Yeah,
I have to find that. Yeah, intriguing indeed.
I'll tell you something that I actually really like for both of these guys. 4th downs allowed. 4th down, I like 4th down conversions allowed. 4th down conversions allowed by the Bengals over 0.5. I absolutely think that will happen. I'm sure the Rams are going to go for it on 4th down at some point and make it. And on the other side, 4th downs allowed by the Rams, 1. I like that too. I mean, I just think that both teams are going to be I think they're going to have very much incentive. Obviously, the Super Bowl's on the line to go for it. If it's close, I think they both will. I think they'll both convert more than once. I really do. So you heard it here first.
Oh, there is one. I don't remember if it's probably on DraftKings, but I always like to bet like over 2.5 like players to throw a pass. There's always like OBJ has a good arm. A lot of these
he's going to throw
a good arm now.
He'll throw a
pass. So I don't know what the exact odds are, but I always like that one.
Yeah, that's always an intriguing bet. I like that one, CJ. Because I think OBJ that's the play that it will be. He'll chuck one. Yeah, I like that.
Let's go to halftime. Halftime show prop bets. We got the first performer. We got the first songs. This is going to be like a hip hop fest. Everybody's very excited, or at least everybody of a certain age is very excited. Which is even stranger that Mickey Guyton was the choice to sing the national anthem, because who would have thunk it, right? So anyway, Wolf, who do you like coming out first? Because we got a lot of folks that are going to be appearing on the stage.
It's a really tough call. I always like to get risky with these types of bets. But it just feels like Dre is like the classic one. I know he's plus 150. So you look at the odds, Dre plus 150, Mary J. Blige plus 200, Snoop plus 375, Lamar plus 650, Eminem plus 700. I agree with like Eminem's the closer. He's going to come out later, get the crowd all riled up late. So I don't think it's going to be Eminem. So I agree with those odds. What if they did just start with Lose Yourself out of nowhere?
That would be crazy, but I kind of think it's like when The Weeknd performed, it's like he's not going to open with Blinding Lights, Right.
Yeah. Part of me thinks they're going to be gentlemen and let Mary J. Blige go first, plus 200 her.
Okay. CJ, what do you think?
No, I'm once again, I'm keeping it safe here. It's in LA. Dr.
So
Dre's
safe.
in Compton. California Love is going to be the first song Dr. Dre is going to be doing it. It makes too much sense. I don't know.
I saw California Love was plus 200. That's a Tupac song, right? Like,
yeah, but Dr. Dre is in it though.
Right.
Okay.
He features in it. Yeah.
And Tupac's not alive, so
maybe they'll bring his little hologram mode on.
Right. I was gonna say, what do you think? What action would you need for there to be a Tupac hologram?
That would be hilarious.
That is a good call.
Right.
That's such a great opener too, to like get the crowd going.
I think that's probably going to happen, right?
The only other one I really do like as a potential opener though is the next episode. Just like that beat just sounds like the first thing you hear, and like everybody loves that song. So I like the next episode. I do think California Love. See, that's a great point. Like it's probably going to be that. I'd lean there, but if it's not that, it'd either be the next episode or you parlay Eminem first, Lose Yourself first, and they just want to get everybody jacked the fuck up for the.
That's not going to happen. We should really ask Seamus.
Seamus nailed. He actually like called. I was at the Anchor with him actually before that Justin Timberlake show. I don't even remember, that was like 5 years ago, and he gave me the whole set list. He's like, this is what it's going to be. And he had it down to almost like a science. Like I think he got all the songs he was going to play.
He got the opener right, which is a song I'd never heard of. He's like, they're going to open with Filthy. And I was like, sure Filthy. They are. And he totally opened with Filthy.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And that was like plus 2,000 odds. I remember Filthy. It's like, oh my God.
Right. And first, I'll never forget that. So maybe we should ask Seamus. So it's hard for me to argue with CJ's logic on this. So I'm going to go with that as well. And there's no way Eminem and Lose Yourself's coming first. It's just
I think that's how they shut it down. I'm with you. The only other halftime show bet I found pretty intriguing was Snoop Dogg to smoke on stage plus 375. What do you think?
It's not impossible. I mean,
I don't know. Is it even like, can you do that in California?
It's California. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you can do that in California.
California is the most like backward state there is.
He's done crazy shit like that plenty of times on stage. So I kind of like just like, why not throw $20 at it?
It's a family fun event. I don't know if he'll do that.
Yeah, he wants to educate the children on the best medicine of all time.
It's a public service announcement.
Yes,
all right.
Exactly.
All right, moving along. Gatorade bath color, orange, the favorite at 200. Blue, we got the Rams, we got the Bengals. Obviously, that's going to play a little bit into that. What do you like, CJ? I'll start with you this time. What do you like as far as Gatorade bats?
I know. I feel like I'm like such a loser. I'm so safe about everything. I'm going with orange again, even though that's the favorite.
Well,
at what is it, plus 200?
Yeah, 200.
2 of the last 3 have been blue. Blue was plus 800 last year. It was a kind of shocking dump on Bruce Arians. I like that if I'm playing it safe at plus 300, but the Gatorade bath has no time for safety, folks. I'm going to go.
No.
I'm going red or pink plus 800. I'm going to go for the big money here. I'm not going purple or indigo. No way. But give me red.
Red Gatorade is the worst Gatorade.
It's horrible. Actually, there has not been a red Gatorade for the last.
That's why I'm going purple, indigo, violet, and I'm parlaying it with Mickey Guyton wearing green.
Just getting crazy.
You're going to
bookend your night green.
I'm just going to make it rain after that, folks. I'm going to retire. Be like, you'll never see me on this pod again. I'll be on an island in Tahiti. All right.
Absolutely.
Moving on. Who wins the MVP and who are they thanking when they do? Always love this one. Wolf, who's winning the MVP, first of all?
I think it's Burrow. I mean, I talked about, I think, how the Bengals win, and it's almost always the quarterback. Granted, it might not be. If the Bengals win, maybe it is Chase that gets it done for them. But
if the Bengals win, it's Burrow. There's no question about it.
And I want to make this point, too, is if the Bengals are plus 170 as a money line, why would you not take Burrow plus 225 instead? If they win, it's because Burrow is the MVP. Don't go for plus 170. I mean, you could still do that if you think they're going to win, but don't also not take Burrow plus 225 if you're going to bet Bengals money line. No doubt about it.
Who's he going to thank?
So probably team. I know it's the obvious one. It's plus 100. Like it's the likely outcome. But I did watch his LSU acceptance speech, and he really quickly said our coaches gave us a great game plan as soon as they saw what they were doing, and coaches are plus 1,600. So 16 to 1. It's going to bring teammates. Like there's a very, in the AFC Championship game, he immediately said the defense and our teammates, they came up for us when he was getting interviewed after the game. But as a toss in, maybe, just maybe, he mentions the coaches. I did a really gross deep dive on like how religious is Joe Burrow earlier.
I did.
I'm doing that right now.
He's quote unquote a devout Christian. I read about his church, like in the different ways they're supporting him and doing all. So he is religious, but he also does not really talk about his religion at all. So I would not. God is always an intriguing one, but I'm going to go Burrow wins it, and he thanks his team and teammates. But I might also toss in just a little bit of juice onto
just
that.
Just a little sprinkle on God.
Why not? No God for me. I'm going to go for coaches instead. There's no God here.
God doesn't usually hit.
No, he doesn't. No,
he's always going to be a nominee. He's going to be nominated, but he's rarely the guy that takes home the trophy.
When he hits, he slaps, but he doesn't hit too hard.
Yeah, he hits for power. CJ, who do you like for MVP?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Rams to win, so I'm going with my guy Stafford. I mean, it's boring at plus 100. Once again, I feel so
safe. So safe.
I know, and he is. I just looked it up. He is a devout Christian. He's open.
So
his wife, his wife just had brain surgery 2 years ago. He like praised God for that. So I'm going with God, then maybe his wife.
Stafford and God. I am shocked though, CJ, because you nailed a couple years ago the Julian Edelman receiver one. You got Cup at plus 600.
I'm going Cup. I'm going Cup and God.
Yes. No, but you can't pick the Bengals then to win.
No, I'm not going Cup. I'm picking Bengals.
I'm sprinkling a little bit everywhere. Cup and God
all over the place.
Right. I know Cup is a religious guy, although I've never heard him mention it. But I know that if you want to do a quick deep dive on him, he's also devout as they come.
Yeah. I think that's because I saw like 4 different articles that said devout Christian in like the same exact line about Burrow. CJ, I think it's one of those like it's shitty people that ask us to put articles up for him. That's definitely one of those people just like spamming devout Christian Joe Burrow because that's such a big search term for psychos like us. If the Rams do win though, I actually do think Cup might be the bet. So if I was going to hedge a little bit, I might go Burrow, Cup, ignore Stafford at plus 100.
Yeah, I might put some on Burrow and teammates and Cup and God.
So Cup is religious, huh? You
yeah.
So? Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Wait, what's family? Like, let me see, plus...
Who's saying? Hey, can I ask you something?
Family's plus 800. I love that now. Stafford wife just had a brain tumor taken out of her brain. Whatever it is.
Taken out of her brain.
Taken out of her head.
That's so frequently the place that you would take a brain tumor out of.
Usually where it would come
a year and a half ago. I could see that.
Let me ask you this. If you won Super Bowl MVP, who's the first entity that you would thank?
It's got to be teammates.
Yeah,
it's your
teammates.
Yeah. There's a reason it's the favorite. The angle I do also look at here, though, is if Cincy wins it, like the fans in the city,
I was going to say maybe the city.
Burrow's from Ohio.
Right. So that's intriguing too. There's a lot of interesting ways Burrow could go with this MVP speech when they win. Man, I do like the coach's bet though. I mean, it's going to be teammates, teams. Like, that's obviously the likely one, but City and Vans plus 275, if you think the Bengals are going to win, isn't a bad action to go after. But I do think we've seen Burrow thank his coaches in the past. That plus 1,600 is just juicy for me.
If team owner plus 2,000, what an ass kisser you'd have to be to come out there. And I mean, like, I'd lose all respect for you if you came out.
I'd like to thank you.
First person I'd like to thank is the billionaire owner. It's like one of the
cutting
worst
my
people.
checks.
Probably one of the worst people in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Thanks for
thanks for being such a bad person.
Oh man.
All right. So with that said, you got any other random bets that you want to throw out that we haven't covered yet? That covers the basic skeleton of what we wanted to do. You got anything else that's just on your mind? You gotta say something.
No, I don't have any more myself. I don't know if you do, CJ. I remember there's a couple I loved a few years ago, like Andy Reid eating it like cheeseburger or something like plus 5,000. But there wasn't any I saw that really caught my eyes, like that were just so funny that I had to toss something on there. I didn't see many of those this year, so I don't have any others. Is there any other, CJ, that we haven't covered?
No, I don't think so. I'm just looking now if there's anything random. Like I remember before it'd be like will like Trump be on TV, just like stuff like that.
Right.
I'm not really. I feel like there aren't as many like. Cool
Here's one for you. What do you think about this? What do you think about throughout the telecast? And this is like so from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, them mentioning the line, like the gambling line.
Oh, it's Al Michaels is calling it, so it's definitely.
I think it's a great bet.
Yeah.
I've seen that one around there too.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, let's we got Duck first in the chat. Hello, Duckling.
Hey, Duck. Mitch, what's up, Wolves? What's up, Mitch? Do you think Mitch is just super bitter about this whole Bengals thing?
Probably, but he's like never bitter about anything.
He's a good guy. He's too nice.
He's just the happiest person in life.
Wait a minute. I was just looking up some like random props.
Okay.
And I just saw a Sports Illustrated article that said there was a leak that the first song could be next episode, and it's shifted all the way to minus 300 on some sportsbook.
Listen, I said that. I like the next episode. Intriguing. Okay.
Those people out there that are leaking this stuff, like, have you no shame? Seriously.
I think that's why it's so hard to find props now, because there's like always like that stadium worker that's like hanging out in the stadium like cleaning or something, and then he like he times the anthem and then puts it on like Twitter.
That's so stupid to tell anybody. You should just place a huge bet on it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Anyway. All right, go ahead. Duck, CJ looking sexy with that grizzled beard. Truth looking dapper as always. Wolf bringing the sex appeal.
Thank you, Duckling. We need to get him on. What would the Duck bring to the table?
Definitely. And if it was like anyone else, I'd be like, man, he's been, he's drank like half a bottle of bourbon or something, and it's like 7 o'clock. But
popped a couple of Viagra before the show.
Duck, no way. No. All right.
Duck had a couple sodas, popped a Viagra, and he's ready to go.
Duck would thank God first.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Or maybe his wife. I don't know. Matt, Noto, whole gang's here. Let's go. Yeah.
Let's go.
We got to do more of these 3-man pods next year with CJ. We actually work pretty well. Mitch Chavez, I see Burrow throwing over 275 yards. Mixon or OBJ scoring the first touchdown. I like OBJ on that. I don't love Mixon on that, Mitch.
I had OBJ going, so I like that. I don't like Mixon, though. As I said, I'm under on all those.
Mitch says, I'm choosing the Rams to win. I see Stafford doing just enough and that defense solidifying the win for them. Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. Again, the Wolf and I don't have any good reason for doing what we're doing.
It's just Burrow. That's the only reason I have, and it's a good one.
Nick, sort his beard out, please. Just sort it out.
I love the beard. I'm sorry, I am leaning into this beard. I want more of it. I like to grab that beard. It's great. You know what? I wish. Usually we're in agreement, Lauren, about my man CJ here, but the beard, I want more. I think it's not grizzly enough. Let it rip.
Keep it till the summer, at least.
Yeah, I think summer it's even like grizzlier. Get the sand in there, nice.
Oh yeah, like big chunks of food.
It'll mess up my tan.
CJ, what are your thoughts? What do you think of your beard? Give us your analysis on your beard.
I love it. It's a nice little winter feature. I mean, as it gets nicer, I don't know if I'm gonna want it. I want to get a nice little tan in the summer, so that's gonna mess it up. So it'll be here until maybe April. Who knows?
We should do an over-under on that.
Yeah, over under when the beard goes.
All right, Mitch, not bitter. Honestly, more disappointed in how the team lost as they did. I hear that. Right now, I'm more afraid of Honey Badger leaving and becoming a Raven as the rumor continues to grow. All right.
That would suck. All righty. And that's all of them, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's it, man. Good show.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you again so much. If you're here live with us, we really appreciate you being here, interacting, watching us rabble on about these awesome props here. If you caught the replay, thank you so much as well. If you haven't already, consider please joining in on Underdog using code RSJ or on Prize Picks. You heard us reference them many times. Also, code RSJ gives us a nice little kickback, shows you the world that we can help bring a crowd. We had a good first month with Prize Picks for sure. So we want to continue to grow and continue to build those relationships. So if you haven't already, Wolfpack, they're great games. They're fun to play. And so ultimately, I think everybody should join there. We did get Mitch Chavez, guys. Great job. Great night. Always the nicest human being in the world. So thank you guys again so much for being here. It's always one of my favorite shows to talk about these prize bets. Let's make a bunch of money with these props, folks. Any last words, Truth or CJay?
No, go Bengals, I guess, but not by much.
Yeah, go Bengals by a little bit. Indeed.
Yeah.
Who day? Let's go. All righty, guys. Thanks again. RocheJournal.com is where we breed and feed you fantasy wolves in that world full of fantasy sheep, guys. Be the wolf. Later.
Later.